carrying 7 British tourists has crashed while crossing a bridge in Iceland. Reports say 3 people, including a child, have been killed and others critically injured. We can join now Adolf Ingi Erlingsson, a tour guide who arrived, I think, at the scene shortly after the crash occurred. And can you just explain, first of all, where exactly this happened?
Happened in the south of Iceland, along the main road, what we call the ring road, and it's a river which is called Nordsvatn. It's about half an hour east of a small town named Kirkjubæjarklaustur or Kloster.
And this is a one-track bridge, I understand, and it was a total land cruiser, I think. It crashed through the railings?
Yes, very strange, I think, but somehow the driver must have lost control of the car, and it just went through the railing and crashed down, onto the back. It's kind of sandy. There's no river, so it wasn't submerged in water or anything. It just landed there, on a sandy bottom and flipped over and was totally destroyed.
And I don't know how soon after it happened you actually got there, but there was obviously some sort of rescue operation to get those who'd been injured out.
Well, as just before I arrived at the scene, I was overtaken by a police car with flashing blue lights, high speed. And then when I got there, there were 2 police cars, and I just got out of my van and went to see if I could help. And there were just 2 police officers and me to begin with. And, we were trying to assess the situation, find out, who were alive and who we could help and so on, and try to get people out of the car.
I mean, very difficult, and I appreciate you talking about it now. This only happened a few hours ago. I mean, how difficult was it to get the people out? How far down from the bridge was it to where it came to rest?
Well, the fall from the bridge, I would estimate something like 5-6 meters, which is then, 15, 20 feet, something like that. And it was, the car was a total wreck. When I got there, 4 people were out of the car, one of them deceased, and then there were 3 people trapped in the car, and I think 2 of them were deceased. The driver was alive and trapped more or less under the dashboard. I couldn't see his face, but we were trying to get the people out of the car and helping them, and it was a very difficult situation.
And our understanding is that we're talking about 7 British people. Were they able to talk? Did you talk to any of them?
Yes, there were outside of the car. There was 1 adult and 2 children, more or less semi-conscious, and I talked a little bit to the grown-up. There were two children and 1 grown-up. And then I tried to talk a bit to the driver, calm him down. He was, as I say, trapped inside the car. And I was trying to tell him to save his energy and try to be patient. We would try to get him out of there.
And he gave you no indication as to what had happened, why the car had come off the road?
No.
And is this a popular tourist area?
Oh yes. This is the most popular tourist area. This road leads to, among other things, the Glacier Lagoon, where I am actually right now. And my guess is they were on their way here. This is the most popular destination on the south coast, so probably they were on their way here.
I mean, a horrible thing for you to see, and clearly you did everything you could for those that were still alive.
Yes, of course. We just did what we could, and then more rescue people came, and when I'd been there for half an hour or something like that, then, there were enough rescue people and professionals there, so I left at that stage. But then they were starting to cut the car up and try to get the driver out. We had turned the car over a bit. Soon after I arrived, we had an SUV with a winch, and we used it to lift the car up a little bit to alleviate, the pressure on the driver and try to get him out. And they were just continuing with that work when I left.
And presumably in an area like this, an incident like this everyone will be in shock.
Of course, and the road is now closed and has been since the accident, and will be presumably for a couple of hours more. And I know they had 2 helicopters flying in to take people to a hospital, and the first news was that 4 people had died, but then they corrected it to 3, fortunately. But it was a horrible sight to come there and see the wreckage and the people there.
Well, I'm very grateful for you giving us your time, and thank you for joining us. That's Adolf Inge Erlingsson, who's a tour guide who arrived at that scene shortly after that accident. And just to confirm, 3 British tourists, including a child, have died after that 4x4 they were in crashed off a bridge in Iceland. Crashed through a railing on a 1-lane bridge in the south of the country before falling around, well, as we heard there, about 20 feet. Police saying 1 child among the dead, 2 children among the injured. We will bring you more on that as soon as we get any more information from Iceland.